remove this from the stage for now. There we go. Okay, it's telling me that I'm live. Let's just view this on all of the places to make sure. Plus, it's kind of cool to see your face in the internet live world. About to view a stream on Facebook. I know. Yeah, continue. And there we are on LinkedIn. Okay, perfect. Looks like it is working just perfectly. That's exactly what I'd like to see. LinkedIn is showing me pre-live, but that's usually because it has about a 10-second or so delay. I think in case I do something horrific, they can, I don't know, I guess monitor that. Maybe they have AI that wanders around and catches that. But anyhow, good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here. Let's just give this a go. Yeah, having trouble posting LinkedIn. Well, if that happens, it happens. That's how that goes. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the live show. Thank you in advance to everyone who has signed up for a show and then it's just not happened. I've had some technical difficulties as I'm trying to move away from using Zoom as the primary streaming platform to StreamYard. StreamYard provides better resolution. It makes it easier to stream out to different platforms. I say in the midst of it not currently working on LinkedIn. But that's at least, oh, now it's showing event canceled. Boy, oh boy. Well, this is the way it goes as we try to do new things. So perhaps this apology will have to be delivered a second time. But I'm moving to shift this over, and it's just requiring a lot more overhead than I would have expected. You know, there's so many different moving parts, it seems, where I'm coordinating with my guest, and then we're coming to a particular platform, and that platform's trying to go out to other platforms, and I just have not landed on a particularly clean or efficient solution. So thanks everyone for the grace as we work through that. I know that that's probably frustrating. And the other thing that I know is probably you're just not even showing up. Maybe I'm apologizing to people that aren't here anymore. And that's okay too. So today we're going to do some live coaching. I've got a guest with me that I'm really excited to be in conversation with. As I've shared before, you know, I get a lot of requests for guests, maybe one or two, probably about 5 a week at this point. And all of the requests, there must be like a pattern at this point where they send an AI to the podcast and are like, listen to the last podcast, give me a summary of what he talked about, tell him I loved that, and then, you know, here's the guest that I think would be perfect, and find a way to integrate it in. I noticed that in this world of AI, it's brewing or breeding more cynicism in me when I get reach outs like that, because I start to be like, is this just one more, you know, is this yet another setup? Is this a situation where someone's just run this through a robot and then the robot's telling me that they love what I did? And I guess the good news there would be that robots seem to really love what I'm about. The challenge in that is that it's really easy to be righteous about that cynicism. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of evidence to support it, to be like, yeah, see, here's more proof that even when people do reach out and it sounds really positive, it's probably just junk. And I find that for me, the cynicism comes really easily. The context in which I was raised, and really I would say like part of the context of my family is skepticism and critical thinking and looking a bit askance at, you know, cockeyed at whatever is showing up. And there's only so much. Well, I guess I would put it this way, like the good part about that is that it ensures I'm not taken advantage of. You know, like I was kind of raised with this idea, there's no such thing as a free lunch. And given there's no such thing as a free lunch, then anytime someone offers you a free lunch, well, they're obviously trying to get something from you. There's some trick, there's some string attached. And that's fine, but the trouble with that is then that it ensures I live in a life and a world where there's no free lunch. There's never a free lunch. I can never accept generosity just on face value. And the world that I end up creating around me, the experience of my life as I go through life, becomes one of constantly being on guard for what the angle is people are working against me. And like all of these things, our beliefs are super powerful and determinative. And so if that's the way I look at the world, that's the experience I'm going to have of the world. And that's going to be the world I create around me as a reflection of my beliefs and my actions from those beliefs. And then where I'm left is living this life where there's no such thing as a free lunch. You got to be constantly on guard, and it's exhausting. And even if I'm not present to the exhaustion, that's not the life I want to live in. It's not the world that I want to be a part of, that I want to create, and that I want for myself. And so I do a lot of work to notice that skepticism, that cynicism, when it it crosses the threshold from skepticism into cynicism, and to really remind myself that's not how it has to be. And it can be different than that. And there's other ways they can go, and all of these sort of things. And so it's interesting witnessing that take place in real time with this sort of stuff as my emails come up. And one of the ways that I try to practice this, let's have a sip here. Just moisten the mouth a little bit, is that whenever anyone reaches out to me in any form, I make a point of responding personally. And a lot of the times that just goes nowhere. And my friends are like, geez, dude, why do you even bother doing this? This is a waste of energy, and you could speed things along for yourself. And what's the point? It's all thrift and grift and all of that. But the point is that, maybe 1 out of 10 people, I get a conversation with someone like Ral, or I get a conversation with someone that really is enriching. And I've had a few of these on LinkedIn and Facebook and any number of other places. And we got to take that stuff that feels kind of crappy, like the robots coming after us, if we want to create some of the good stuff for us. And it's interesting because I just finished teaching material for a bunch of coaches on creating clients as a function of who we're being in the world, and from a place of relationship rather than traditional sales methodology. And the first step of that is connection. And this cynicism is right in the way of connection, because it's really hard to connect with someone if I show up to the table and I'm looking at them with my eyebrow cocked and I'm asking them pointed questions that sort of the subtext is, yeah, but what are you trying to get out of me? That's a tough place for someone to connect with you from. And so none of this is a requirement. We can justify why we show up in the world the way we show up in the world very easily. That's the easiest thing you'll ever have to do. Like, the easiest thing in the world is to justify to yourself or to other people why your life currently looks the way it does, why things have to unfold the way they do, why the belief you have is justified. The beliefs you have will always be justified because you've created a world around you that's a reflection of them. So you don't have to look very far. The hard part is when we want to create a new belief, or usually where we start from is, I want to create a new world. I create a new experience of my life. I want to create a different world around me. I want to go through life and have it be different than it currently is. To do that, we have to start by changing our beliefs. And there's this really tricky place, this liminal space where we're starting from is we have a set of beliefs and we have a world we've created that's a reflection of those beliefs and that reinforces them. And then those beliefs dictate our actions, and our actions reinforce the world. And it's all very coherent. And if we want to change the world around us, we have to start by changing our beliefs, and we have to kind of really understand that the process of changing our beliefs at first is going to seem a little crazy, because it's going to run counter to all of the evidence we've amassed. We've got all the evidence of the past and all of the evidence of the world that we've created that all completely justifies this structure, this state, this belief system that we have. And so creating something beyond that is a little bit of a step into insanity, where we're willing to say, even though my beliefs about why I should be skeptical, or why I should just close out people, or why people are dumb, or whatever your version of that is, we have to stand in the place of, even though I could find ample evidence for that, even though it's going to be entirely justified, I am beginning from the point that I am willing to believe that there is something different possible. That's the start of all transformation, is that I'm willing to begin from the starting point that something different could be possible. And I'm willing to stand in that belief as a starting point. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of work that follows. But that very first starting point sounds really easy intellectually until you go into the world and try to practice it. And then what the world's going to give you is all of the evidence why, nope, here's how things absolutely need to be the way you are. And this is the essence of coaching, is we're supporting people to strengthen their ability to stand in that new belief, and then to start to practice, to take actions from that new belief. And if you can support people to do that over time, what happens is the world around them starts to change. And that is miraculous, because over time, that world will change, their beliefs will change, their actions will change. And suddenly what previously was utterly impossible starts to become possible. And so for me, as I continue to practice in this lunacy that I'm describing, I notice that connection becomes easier, becomes more widely available. And that even when people do have an angle, if I meet them with connection, some of those people end up being delightful conversations. I've had some really fascinating conversations with people that initially were just trying to pitch me, and pitch me poorly, pitch me ideas on, here's why your product's not good, and here's what you need to do differently. So none of it's a requirement. It's just what's available if we want to make it available. Okay. So a little bit about our guest. Ral reached out to me, or maybe it was her assistant reached out to me and was like, look, here's what I'm up to. This is why I think I'd be a good fit. And I said, great. Here's the requirement to come on this show, is that you're a yes to coming and being coached. And I'll say, sometimes we have guests on that where that's not the case, but usually it's because I've done some of this work with them beforehand. And so I really think it's so valuable for us to get to see people, to witness people in the moment, being in the practice of vulnerability and intimacy and exploring what they're up to, because then we can see their humanity. Then we can relate to, reflect with, see ourselves in their own foibles and struggles and challenges and all of that stuff. And that takes something special to be willing to do that. So I'm excited to bring Ral on. Ral, why don't you turn on your camera, turn on your mic. I'm going to add you the stage here. Add to stage. Boom. Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
I love your background. It looks like it would smell of like leather and mahogany.
Oh, well, yes. Well, it should. Not sure that it does, but it's just my office.
Spraying it with the mahogany and leather spray.
I'll try to find some.
Cool. Where are you? Where are you based right now?
I am in Sitka, Alaska.
That's right. I remember you were like one of the few people I've had on that's further north than I am.
Oh, where are you?
I'm in Victoria, British Columbia. So an island just off the coast.
We love Victoria. We used to keep our boat there. And
yes.
Victoria and in Sydney. Love
yes. Very charming.
Yeah.
What brought you to Sitka in the first place?
Well, we moved to Sitka a little over 20 years ago from Anchorage. So
yes, okay.
There's a story behind that. I was born and raised in Seattle, so just down the street from you. And my husband was from Southern California, and we both came to Alaska for different reasons. He came on a fishing trip when he was like 19, and 10 years later, I came to Alaska to a town called Ketchikan, which is just south of Sitka, and I took a job as director of marketing for a tour company. And then after about a year there, I said, I'd really rather work for myself. I don't want to work for other people. So I moved to Anchorage, started my own business, and my husband was this boy across the hall who had his little business. We ended up working together, getting married, 42 years ago.
Congratulations. The Alaskan love story.
Yeah, right. Wow. So then, after quite a few years, a couple of decades in Anchorage, we wanted to move to Sitka because my husband is a boataholic. And he's not actually seeking a cure for that. But, we discovered that the boating was better in Sitka because it's like 1,000 miles south of Anchorage. So it's a bit warmer and a bit more temperate, and great fishing, lovely community. And we spent a few summers here just living on our boat. And then it was like, no, we need to buy a house. We want to stay. So we did that. And then 2 years ago, we built our dream home, which we call Forever Sitka. And it's here on the waterfront in Sitka. And we have our boat at our own dock.
Oh, incredible. Wow.
Yeah. And the Pacific Ocean is right there.
Snowshoe? Is that what you said? Get to snowshoe right there?
Pacific Ocean.
Beautiful.
We're on the Pacific. Yeah.
It's good to live on it, isn't it? I love the smell. Yeah. Wake up in the morning and just get like the salt air and
except for low tide. Yeah, low tide.
I kind of like that too. I think if you're, so you grew up, where did you say? Seattle. So you've grown up sort of along the ocean all along.
Oh yeah. Ocean and mountains. I have to have them.
Yes. Yeah, we're very gifted here I guess you're not quite the Pacific Northwest, but this area that we kind of share, Pacific
Yeah.
coastline, whatever it is, we just have
Well,
so much beauty.
yeah, we're directly west of British Columbia,
That's
the
right.
northern coast of British Columbia. So,
Do
yeah,
are you far enough north that you get perpetual sunlight then as we move into summer?
no,
No.
no.
How late would what's that?
It's a little lighter in the summer than Seattle and Victoria,
Okay.
and a little darker in the winter than Seattle and Victoria, because we're actually closer to Seattle than to Anchorage.
Ah, interesting. So how late would your nights go? When would the sun go down at
Oh,
the height of summer?
10:30, 11.
Oh, okay. So when we were in Scotland, my wife and I were renewing our vows in Scotland not long ago during the summer,
Yeah.
and the sun would go down around 11. You don't realize how far north they are.
Okay.
But it was so cool because, it does something to your body where you're like, all right, I'm ready to do stuff. And you're like, holy cow, it's 11 o'clock at night. Wow, I should go to bed.
Well, in just a little over 2 weeks, we're headed to Scotland and Norway.
Oh,
and
boy.
Somebody recently asked us, are you going to see the Northern Lights in Norway? And I said, not this time of year, I don't think. It's going to be pretty light.
We've had them this far south recently. It was quite unusual. Like in the last couple of years, we've had a few bouts of them. It was really neat.
Yeah. But when there's too much light, you can't see them. They're there, but you just can't see them. Yeah.
Super cool. All right. Well, ready to dive in for a little bit?
Absolutely. Yes.
Cool. Excellent. Okay.
See where we go.
Yeah, let's do that. You might see me look down and take a few notes. So if I'm looking down, that's what I'm doing. I'll try not to do too many because my keyboard's clacky and I don't want to be too distracting with that.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit, like what are we going to work on?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say I really loved your introduction, and I totally believe in transforming our thoughts. I work on that a lot. And I found several very useful techniques. But what we want to talk about today is my business is called Ral West, Living the Dream. And it's all about teaching entrepreneurs how to be the owner rather than the operator of their business so that they have the freedom to live their dream and have a successful business, which is what we've managed to do. And we operate a few businesses still, and yet we still travel the world. Like I just said, we're going off to Scotland and Norway. We're going to be gone for a month. And not long ago, we were in Colombia. And then last fall, we were in Europe for 6 weeks. And this is just part of how we live. And so our businesses have to adapt to our lifestyle because that's how I believe it needs to be. So I'm trying to teach people how to do that so that they can really enjoy their life as well as be successful in business. So I created an online course that's 8 modules that goes over the 6 principles that we have found are the keys to having a super successful business. And that online course is pre-recorded, so anybody can take it whenever they want. Then I started, I am starting actually right now, a mastermind, because the people who are taking the course need a bit more guidance, need a bit more, shall I say, hand-holding, and they'll get me on a group call once a month, plus other interaction through an online community, etc. So that launch of the mastermind is happening right now. And then my next step is going to be to have a membership group where the course will be available to all members and they'll have some level of interaction with me. But my challenge is to figure out how to differentiate the products, because the mastermind is kind of a high ticket item, several $1,000s for the program for a year. Yeah. And the membership should be quite a bit less than that, maybe just $100 or $200 a month. So what do I offer each of these respective products to make sure that they get value, make sure that they're getting the message and can actually transform their lives, but still, have a marketable difference between the two?
Got it. Okay. So course is done and dusted, so to speak. Like it's out there, it's available to people if they want it. And then the mastermind has already been created, or that's being created? It's
in the works right now. We're enrolling people right now, and it will be launching, in terms of the first monthly call will be the end of July. So we've got a couple months to enroll people, and it's going to be a small group. I'm limiting it to like 20, 25 people. I want to be able to see everybody on a Zoom screen, It's going to be a personalized experience, and they can get to know me, I can get to know them and each other. These are all going to be entrepreneurs of 7 and 8 figure businesses, so that, they're all kind of at the same level where they've been in business for a while, but they need to sort of get out of the day to day. Too many business owners still have their hands on everything, and I think control might be an issue. Not learning how to delegate properly, etc. So my job is to teach them how to delegate properly, how to scale, how to create their team, build their culture very intentionally to support their visions, their values, their principles, and their lifestyle. And
Okay, cool. And
so
then the membership group, what is they get access to the course you mentioned, and then is there more to it than that? Like, what are the other components to it?
that's what I have to figure out.
Got it. So right now it's a blank canvas.
Yes. And I'm not going to start it until after the mastermind is up and running. I believe in just, focusing one thing at a time. Don't get myself too scattered. That's how I support living the dream. Don't want to be stressed out. So, yeah.
Got it. Okay. So what would, if we were to, or if you, I'm not going to do any work here. If you were to bottom line it, what would you say the challenge you're facing right now is?
Trying to figure out what exactly to offer a membership that will make it valuable and worth spending, $100 to $200 a month on, and yet have it be less product, if you will, than the mastermind, because the mastermind is a $25,000 a year product.
Yeah.
So there has to be a distinction.
And what would you say is, so I got the challenges, like, what do I offer?
Mm-hmm.
And aside from just coming up with stuff, like, what about that question or that kind of thing is challenging? What makes that challenging for you?
I think it's trying to decide how to work the time with me. If part of the value is my coaching and well, I like to call it mentoring rather than coaching.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not, I've been an entrepreneur for over 40 years, so I'm a mentor. I've got this, I've earned the mentor title with all my experience and wisdom.
Yeah.
And I don't want to do one-on-one coaching because that doesn't support my lifestyle very well. Okay. So the membership needs to have some access to me. And so I guess I need to create boundaries, around what will the membership get of me? If I'm really the product, and my guidance is what they're seeking, how much of that do I offer to the membership versus how much I'm offering to the mastermind? And I have a choice. I guess I can up level the mastermind to provide even more guidance and one-on-ones and group interaction, and make that even more special, and have the membership be at sort of a base level where they get the course and they get some coaching from me, mentoring from me, and then if they want more, then they need to jump up to the mastermind.
Okay, bear with me. I'm just going to turn off my fan here so I got a little bit of sound. 1 sec.
Okay.
There we go. Okay, and now I'm going to unhook myself from my microphone. There we go. So what would you say is like currently the guiding star behind driving the membership? Like, what for create the membership option?
Why create it?
Why do you want to create
it? To reach more people. I mean, my purpose in this business is to reach as many people as I can with the message. And the message is live your life the way you want. Have your business support your life and not the other way around. I think too many of us, whether we're at a job or a business that owns us, the life comes second. And I think that that's wrong. And I can say that, the age that I'm at and the experience that I've had and having done it the wrong way many decades and been totally overwhelmed and exhausted and, out of shape and poor health and all of that because I was sublimating everything for the business. Everything took second seat, back seat. And my kids suffered, my husband and I suffered, and it wasn't a good way to live. And I want to teach people that they don't have to do that. They can
Got it. Okay.
really have the life that they want, but they need these tools and they need these principles in order to be able to do that. And it's what we did. We grew a business, one that we started around the time that we met, and we had it for 25 years. Grew it to the point where it was 8 digits in annual revenue. We hired a COO and a CFO, and then we stepped out and let them run it, and they grew it even more. And then we sold it to Alaska Airlines.
Okay, so it sounds like the main driving factor behind the membership thing is like a desire to like meet more people where they're at. Not so much you physically meeting them in person, but more just like connect with more people, give more people this opportunity, this gift, this teaching, etc. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yes. I'm a teacher. I love to educate, and I love to lift people up and help them to realize a better life. Transform their life. You were talking about transformation. Well, you can take a look at it from starting with your business, get your business running in such a way that you can have the time to enjoy your life. And whether it's spending time with family or doing yoga classes or whatever, go fishing, whatever you want to do, you've got the time to do that confidently, knowing that your business is moving right along and doing well.
Okay. So how many people would you want, like, what is your measure of success, if we call it that? Like, what would you want this membership group to reach in terms of people? What are the numbers you're aiming towards?
Well, probably at least 1,000
a year, or
at a time.
Number?
At a time.
Okay.
Yeah, and or more.
Okay.
It should be something where, because it's not going to have as much personal connection with me, I should be able to reach thousands.
Okay. So 1,000 people or so. And then what else is a part of your vision, by virtue of them being in this community, getting to be a part of this membership group? What else do you want to see or cause to happen? Or?
Well, I'd like for them to feel community with the other entrepreneurs in the membership group. Oftentimes I talk to people who say, I just feel kind of alone. And, I don't know what to do next. So the peer interaction and getting advice, bouncing ideas off of other people, maybe even getting some problem solving, some troubleshooting from others who are going through a similar experience would be a wonderful thing, I believe, for the members. And, give them a sense of belonging and, kindred spirit kind of group. And I can pour a lot of other resources into the membership group, people that can talk to them. And because I'm not an expert in everything, I'm an expert in what I do, but I can bring in other experts to share with them and have a resource library and so forth. But of course, I'm doing that for the mastermind too. So I guess as we're speaking, I'm thinking that main difference is that there'd be more of personal attention from me in the mastermind, as opposed to the membership would be more of a structure and a system for sharing information and creating that bond between the entrepreneurs. And if they want more attention, they would have to do the mastermind. And you asked what's my big picture forward looking. It's to do things like retreats where we're getting together in a beautiful spot like here in Sitka, or where our second home is on Maui, or wherever, and gathers some fabulous people to share with the members of the mastermind some of their expertise, whether it's a yoga instructor or my personal weightlifting trainer or other business experts, and just have a fabulous time and learn and grow and really immerse yourself in that experience. So that's part of it. And ultimately, in the next couple of years, I'll be writing a book and just, continuing to share the knowledge. And you know what? And I haven't stopped learning. I gotta be honest. I'm still going for more experiences and more learning. I'm an avid Tony Robbins fan, taking lots of his programs. We're going off to Fiji to one in July, and I'll be bringing all the new things that I'm learning into these groups as well, because the learning should never stop. I don't think. I'm a firm believer in lifelong learning.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So what, like, you've been going to like Tony Robinson events. I'm curious, what have you got or gotten from that work that far as it would pertain to the challenge that you're currently facing, which is sort of like, what do I do with a membership group? What do I want to make it look like? Like, what have you got in terms of that?
Well, I think it was his business mastery that prompted me to go bigger than I was doing. And when I first took business mastery last August, I just had, well, I was still in the throes of creating my course actually, and a lot of it was, think bigger, don't limit yourself, go for it. And so then that prompted me to go for the mastermind and then the membership, and just keep going, keep growing, don't stop, think bigger, don't limit yourself. Limiting beliefs, that's got to get rid of those.
Okay.
So a lot of, like, we just did Date with Destiny in December with Tony, and a lot of that was about just getting rid of those negative beliefs, those limiting thoughts, the lies that we tell ourselves or have been told to us that we chose to believe about ourselves or about the world, and just, exorcise them, get them out, get rid of
Okay. Okay. Makes sense. So I'm just going to put it over there with you. Where do you think we should explore from here?
them. Well, I don't know. That's why I want the coaching. So,
Well, the cool thing is that question is the coaching, is so to invite you to, like, because
tricky.
what I don't want to do is tell you this is how you should do it, because
Oh,
that's
darn.
not at all coaching, and you would know better than I. I'm curious where you feel drawn for us to go at this point in the conversation.
Okay, let me think. Give that a second of thought here. I think I need to validate the concept that I need to provide more value for a mastermind because it's a higher cost, and less value in the membership because it's a lower cost. So I'm equating value with money.
Okay.
And so is that a valid concept?
Well, how does that feel internally when you say that?
It feels like that's the way the world works.
Okay. Is that the way you want it to work?
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I guess personally, I do feel that when I want to be in an exclusive environment and, be treated in a special way, I know I'm going to pay more for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I accept that, and that seems fair to me. And if I want to be one of the masses, then, okay, I'll pay less, but then I don't get that special treatment.
Makes sense to
So
me. Does
I
that make
guess
sense
it's,
to
it's
you?
like flying first class versus coach,
Yeah.
yeah. So
It
I
is.
guess I need to figure out what does coach look like for the membership group, and what does the first class look like for the mastermind. And one of the differences, of course, is that if the mastermind is exclusive and it's only, maximum of 25 people, that in itself is worth more,
Yeah.
because you're sharing your experience with a lot fewer people, which means that each person has a larger share of that pie.
Uh-huh. Well,
Whereas if there's 1,000 people sharing the same amount of time, they're not going to get their question answered, necessarily, because they have to share the time with 999 other people.
uh-huh. Well, let me show my cards a bit, and then put a few things on the table, and we can see where you feel we should go from there. Sound
Okay.
good?
Sure. Yes.
So there's kind of like, there's often two different approaches in a coaching conversation. Oh, there's 6 billion different approaches in a coaching conversation, but there's like two broad ones. One is more facilitative. So that is like just supporting someone to be in the act of like brainstorming, or like, hey, what do I need to do? Or what is the thing to take on? Or what is the action to do? Or where do I need to do my research? Just being in that sort of stuff. And the other approach is more transformational. And a transformational point of the conversation would be where someone's like, oh, let's imagine we were exploring facilitatively, and you were like, well, here's what I'd really like is 1,000 people. I want them to pay this much money. I want this to be the way it looks, but I can't have that because X, Y, and Z. The transformational conversation, we would look at, oh, there's something you want, but there's a belief, a story, an experience, a circumstance, a whatever that's in the way of you creating that. And then we would do coaching to support that shifting so you could create the thing you wanted rather than the thing you think you have to make. So it occurs right now, like, I'm always listening down both of these paths. Right now, it occurs like we're more in that facilitative conversation, like just what do I even make? What do I create? What do I want it to, any of that sort of stuff, rather than there being kind of a particular, sorry, my wife is just managing our puppies in the background. Rather than there being a particular thing that you're sort of like up against that you want to transform and shift. Am I on the right track with you at this point? Does that feel like where we are?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not opposed to any transformation, of course. If there is any, and sometimes I don't know that I've got a limiting thought. So there's that. Sometimes it's well hidden.
Yes.
Yeah. So, because the number 5,000 also occurs to me. Why not 5,000 people in the membership? Why not 50,000? I mean, why limit it? So if the point is to reach as many people as possible with a message that can help them transform their lives and get more freedom and get more enjoyment and derive more joy and passion from their life, why not reach 100,000 people, a million people? Because I honestly, okay, we'll get a little bit more vulnerable here.
Sure.
We were recently at a healing retreat in Colombia, which was amazing, just so transformational, totally. And we were having experiences that were very connecting to our higher power. And in that experience, I felt very, very strongly the message from my higher power that this is my calling. This is what I need to be doing, that I need to be sharing this message and this knowledge, this wisdom with others. And I get a little tingly even talking about it. So it's like, okay, so what's stopping me? Just go for it. Just, put it out there. And I also had this feeling that it came to me that I was born to be a shining light, but that for a lot of my life, I have dimmed my own light because I felt that it was not pleasant for other people to be around my light, that it made them feel bad about themselves for me to be shining so brightly. And so I dimmed myself. And the experience that I just had was like, knock that off, let your light shine, go for it. Let them worry about themselves. You were put here on this planet in this life to shine. When I was a baby, I had meningitis and pneumonia in my first year, and I survived.
Real overachiever. Real overachiever.
Yeah. And my thought was, damn, this little baby really has a strong will to live. And I do. I still do. And I don't want anything to stop me. If you don't use that word old or old age or, for God's sakes, elderly or anything. I mean, I may be collecting Social Security, but I don't consider myself old. And, just do not limit me by age, gender, whatever, just get out of my way. I'm going for it. And so that's what I'm really trying to, I'm trying to live that and fulfill that and just not let anything stop me.
So you sound super clear on like your what for, your vision in terms of what there is to do there. What feels missing currently? or what feels like it's in the way?
The strategy, sort of
Tell
just
me.
the how to,
Mhm.
really. As you know, I have the resources to do a lot more than most people. I've been able to build this business with a lot of leverage because I've been able to buy the help that I've needed, and other people aren't that fortunate. So we have a very blessed life, and I'm constantly grateful for everything we have. So I can use that to enable me to get the message out faster and further.
Okay. And so what about the strategy feels missing? What in particular?
Just the details of what's the price for the membership, what does the program look like, what is the structure of the program. It's just the finite details of it is all that's missing. And
Okay.
I suppose I could just brainstorm with somebody and figure that out and just put it out there and go for it. That's how I do most things. Just go for it.
Mm-hmm. So is there a reason you're not doing that?
I am trying to take one step at a time and do the mastermind first. I guess
Okay.
there's a part of me that wants to chug ahead and start the membership, but I'm trying to realize that okay, that's not compatible with my lifestyle, and I want to be true to the boundaries that I have set, and just my time and energy, and get the success of the mastermind secured, and then go do the next thing.
Got it. And would you say it's pretty predictable that this membership will happen one way or the other?
Yes.
Okay. So it doesn't sound like there's anything really in the way. It's more just like over the course of time, it's not like you're blocked in figuring out how you're going to put this together. It's just like, well, I'm doing one thing and then you want to do them sequentially rather than in parallel or anything along those lines. Am I hearing that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And
Okay.
and being strategic about how I roll all of this out. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Got it. So it sounds like there's not much of a gap here. And I want you to check my feet on this, but it sounds sort of like where you are is you've got this idea for what you want to create next. One part of that is the mastermind. One part of that is the membership. The mastermind's close on the horizon. You're moving towards that and putting that together.
Mhm.
The membership is sort of coming down the line. You're in the point where you're kind of thinking that through a little bit and strategizing it, but it doesn't sound like there's anything really in the way of making that happen. It's just a matter of time. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
cool.
think so because I know that I can do it, and I know I can garner the resources to help me do it.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. Well, so here's the coaching then from there is our job super easy. We don't really have one. So the most
shucks.
basic part of coaching is where is someone? Where do they want to be? And then what's the gap between where
Mhm.
they are and where they want to be? I'm not really hearing that there's much of a gap there for you.
Hmm.
Does that sound consistent with where you find yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I come up with this a lot. Other people have tried to coach me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm already there. So
Yeah. Well, there's nothing ever wrong with that, like it sounds like you're creating that which you're reliable to create.
Mhm.
And I I guess I kind of want to apologize on behalf of the people that have tried to coach you through that, because really what there is to do is not to try so much. Coaching is only really relevant or important or valuable when there's something you want for which you aren't yet able to create.
Hmm.
Like if I wanted to leave this job and go back to law and practice that, I don't need the support of a coach to do that because already in my wheelhouse.
Mhm.
But if I wanted to leave what I'm doing and, create something vastly different or like exponentially grow the impact of the business or the results I'm creating or anything along those lines, that might require some coaching because it's outside of what's already available to me. And
Mhm.
so there's nothing that has to happen. But what I'm hearing is there's not anything you're really desiring for or striving towards that's outside of your wheelhouse. And that's not to make it a bad thing. That's not wrong in any way, shape, or form. It's beautiful. It's just that there's not much for us to coach on around there.
Yeah. And sometimes I do get in my own way. I know that, sometimes I do allow some negative thinking to come in, but I've learned how to recognize that as, that thought doesn't belong to you. So get that out of there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah. So, it sounds like we don't have much to really work with currently. It sounds like it's just what's that?
Sorry.
It's totally okay. It's totally okay. One of the places we could go is to look at like, well, what do you want to create beyond that? But my sense is that, like some people show up and they're like, oh my God, there's something I really, really yearn for beyond where I'm currently at. And absent that, I find the work is more consultative. So it sounds like that's kind of the realm you're looking for support more in, which is like, hey, help me brainstorm, the size of my community or what I wanted to make it be. The one place I did hear that might be something to look at is like a possible story about, value and what you have to provide versus what you don't have to provide. My sense though is that that's not really the question or the conversation you want to be in. And my sense that way is more that life looks the way it does, and you don't really want to disrupt that, right? You want to keep it pretty much the same for the most part, and then just build on it. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Amazing. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I'm going to hit my microphone. What there is for us to do there is just wind down the coaching. There's not too much to work. Like when there's no gap, there's not much to work with. And that's super cool. That makes the job really easy.
I guess I do think of one gap. I did think of one. I have in my mind being able to be on really big name podcasts like Ed Milet, Amy Porterfield, and then I do get a thought like, oh, well, why would they want me? So that I need to get out of the way because, like Russell Wilson always said, why not me? Why not us? So.
What do you do with that? Well, do you want to spend a little bit of time there with the remaining time we have? Okay, sure. Cool. So what do you do with that thought when it shows up?
I try to tell myself that it is possible. Why not? Why couldn't it be me? Why couldn't it be me? What? And then I ask myself, well, what do I have to offer that, all these other guests don't have to offer? And I think that one of them is that I have an attitude or a belief structure around being youthful and energetic and vibrant, even though I'm 70 years old. So, just like that's a message that I don't think gets touted very much, and it ought to be. Why do we put older people, on a shelf and say, just go retire, go play golf or pick a ball or, whatever. There's nothing wrong with golf and pickleball, but
pickleball rules.
Yeah, but it has to be what you want. It has to be what lights you up. And if it doesn't, then don't retire. Keep following your passion, whatever it is. And that to me is a message that just you can't spread that message enough. And particularly amongst women and, and older women, keep going for it. You don't have to have facelifts and do all this other kind of stuff to be youthful. Just, exercise, enjoy your life, do what you love. And this is going to bring the youth and vitality into your life, the energy and the passion.
And what happens to that thought when you say all of that stuff?
It feels good.
Okay. So is that thought you're having an issue?
I guess just still comes back to, is that enough? Ooh. Okay, so that's one of my little, one of those underlying false beliefs is that, I'm not enough. A lot of people have that. I used to think it was only me. Now I realize it's everybody. So, so just I need to get that put away, get that thought put on a shelf.
Interesting. So you have the thought like, who am I to be on the podcast? And then there's sort of like, well, here's who I am, and here's the message I have, and here's why I think it's important.
Yeah.
And then that feels good. And then there's this follow-up thought like, I'm not enough. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And then what do you do when that shows up?
But if I'm in a good frame of mind, I can say, that's not my thought.
Okay.
That thought doesn't belong to me. It came from somewhere else, and it's not true.
Okay. And if you're not in a good frame of mind?
Then I can succumb to like, not enough. Get that, poor me, and just, insecure feelings can come in. And throughout my life, I've battled with insecurity a lot.
Sure. Yeah. You're a human.
Most of us do, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to get those, be able to get them out there and look at them and see them for what it is. Okay. Oh, that's just your insecurity raising its head, and you need to chop that head off and say that's not real.
Okay. And so would you say that like, so you've got some thoughts that show up, you've got some strategies for them. Would you say that that's all working?
Most of the time.
Okay.
Some of the time not. Some of the time it's a bit harder, and I have to work at it a little bit more, and do some praying and meditating and things like that to work on that. Yeah.
So the reason I'm asking the questions I'm asking is I'm again getting curious, like, is there a gap? So you've probably noticed as a human, we naturally have these thoughts, and our thoughts are distinct. They're uniquely ours, just like our personality is uniquely ours. But then, just like every human being, there's like vast amounts of similarities. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So, I'm too much is a thought. It sounds like you and I share in common, as well as I'm not enough.
It's a contradiction, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. We always polarize.
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough is one of my go-tos, and I'm awkward and robotic, and it's hard for people to connect with me. And you have, and you can probably get that's crazy. This guy's super cool and easy to connect with, hopefully.
Right. Right.
But the point is less whether the thought is real or not. Often I find we most fear that which we least need to be worried about. Like the smartest people in the world, their fear is always, I'm not smart enough. Wow. Because it matters to them, because brilliance is part of who they are. And so, of course, their greatest fear would be the absence of that which they are. The most generous people in the world, their concern is often, I'm selfish. So it always plays out this way.
That's interesting.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's very fascinating.
Yeah.
And so all of us have these thoughts, and they don't have that much meaning aside from the fact that they have thoughts. They only become an issue when we start to react to them or from them. So if I'm worried that I'm selfish, and then I start doing a bunch of stuff to appear generous, now I'm making that thought real. Does that track? Does it make sense? Because I'm being generous now to try to overcome the fear that I'm selfish. And I'm no longer giving really because it's in my heart to give. I'm giving because I don't want to be selfish.
It's false.
There's a falseness to it.
Yeah.
But if I have that thought and I'm like, okay, there's that thought. Hello, old friend. Good to see you. And then I carry on about my day. It's not really an issue.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I really got, you have some of these thoughts. What I'm not clear on is, does this stop you in some way? Is this blocking you in some way?
honestly, it used to block me a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But the older and wiser I get, and the more transformational experiences I have, and the more I work on myself, because we're all works in progress, right? So the more I work on myself, the better I'm able to say, no, I don't want that thought. That's not mine. So just, I consciously work on eradicating that thought.
Got it. Okay. And it sounds like that's working for you.
Most of the time.
Okay, cool. And the times when it's not, it doesn't sound like that's a big issue either.
No. Well, there is one gap I have.
Mm-hmm.
At weightlifting. I'm trying to get to a goal of squatting 145 pounds, and I've gotten to 135, and I know I have the thought that it scares me. It scares me to have that much weight on the bar, and I think that that's impeding my getting to that goal.
Gotcha. Just the fear that you're going to hurt yourself or something else?
Yeah. Well, like the other day, I was squatting, I don't know, 110 or something, and on my third set, I just got down, and then it's like, oh, I'm not coming back up. Legs decided not to work. Yeah. But my trainer's right there, and I said, help, and he says, I got you. So I'm not going to hurt myself because I have a trainer there who's spotting me and so forth. But so maybe the fear is just not being able to do it.
Well, it sounds like a pretty rational fear to have, that you might hurt yourself lifting a bunch of weight. And you've got structure in place to support you, not having that fear stop you, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
But the fear is going to be there anyhow. Just like every time I climb up on that tall diving board, it's a little bit scary. Even though I know I can jump off and the water will catch me and it'll be fine. Just the act of looking down, my body says, dude, that's crazy. So
you do it anyway, though.
Yeah. Well, the thing that catches my ear, and I'm really cautious, I'm being really cautious here, because I don't want to put an agenda onto the table for you. But I noticed like the approach you're taking is to try to eradicate the thought. And that actually creates meaning around the thought. Like if I have a story that I'm selfish and I can just be like, oh, that's just floating around in the ether. It's going to be there. I don't have to do anything about it. Then it kind of can move on because I'm not actively putting energy towards it.
You're not giving power to it.
That's right. But if I have to eradicate it, well, now I don't have to, like if someone came up to me and was like, you have blonde hair. And then it was like, oh no, I have blonde hair. I have to eradicate that thought. Like I just don't put energy into that. I'd be like, no. And then I'd move about my day and I wouldn't think about it anymore. And it might show up, like I'm eating dinner or someone looks at me. I'm like, oh yeah, that person said that. But I don't have to do anything about it. But I'm hearing what you're doing is trying to eradicate the thought, which might actually be creating some meaning around it. And the reason I'm being cautious here is because, the reason I'm asking you the question, is it working for you? Is because if it's working for you, who cares? It doesn't matter if you're putting energy into the thought if it's working for you. If it's not stopping you from achieving something and the strategies you have to deal with it are working, keep on. No gap.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, yes. And I think that you've got something here with the fear about the squats is that when I go up to the bar and I get underneath it, and then I'm working at trying to tell myself, it's okay, you got this, you can do this. And that's putting energy into the fear.
Yeah. Well, you can sort of like acknowledge you're afraid too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid. I'm going to do this anyhow, but I'm afraid. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's how we move beyond our fear.
Yeah, I'm
by
going to try
allowing it to be rather than trying to eradicate it.
Huh.
But I want to be super clear, Ral, that is not intended as like advice, because if the strategies you have are working, I really want to underline this, keep doing them. And it sounds like for the most part, what you're up to is working for you.
Yeah. But, a new perspective and a new point of view is always helpful. And I'm going to think about that because I know told my trainer, I said, this scares me. He says, yeah. He says, I get scared too. Of course, he's lifting a lot heavier weights, but he's a big guy. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of allow myself to live with that fear and have it be okay to have. Maybe that's the thing. It's just to have it be okay to have the fear.
As we do that, gaps become more apparent, because then, anytime there's a gap between where we are and where we want to be, that can be a bit scary because it represents the unknown. Whereas if we're working to eradicate our fear, there will be less gaps, but there will also be less possibility on the table for us. So there's a cost to becoming friends with your fear. You start to have a little more fear present for you. You're more conscious of it, I should say. But the benefit is that you also start to see more stuff you could step into, because now you're not keeping your fear at bay. And anytime we start to vision, have you read The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield?
No.
Oh, it's a phenomenal book. I think you'd really enjoy it. It's very small.
Let me write it down. Okay. Okay. The War of Art.
Catchy title too. So brilliant. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. He was the author who created The Legend of Bagger Vance, and then a bunch of other books and movies and stuff. But for the first 35 years of his life, I think, he was just miserable and failing. And he wrote this book about this process of what it's like as we move towards a goal that really matters for us. And he calls it resistance, our fear, resistance. He said, like, resistance and possibility show up in equal and opposite measure to one another. And so the more fear we have, the more possibility there is on the table. Whereas if we're living our lives free from any fear, there's often not much possibility on the table. It's comfortable, but there might be something that we're missing out on.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, it seems like there's not a lot more for us to explore. Does that seem how it is for you?
I think you've given me quite a bit to think about, and I think that I feel good.
Cool. Okay, great. Well, why don't we wind down there? I want to finish up by acknowledging you, and then before we do that, just check and see, like, sort of a quick debrief, anything you noticed or anything you were present to in our conversation, and then I want to just hear a little bit about what you're up to and where people can find more about it, and then we'll wind down. Sound good?
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
So what was really present for me in this conversation was the sacred duty, I would call it, of coach to really, like, not need people to be anywhere. Like, it was really, I could feel kind of how easy it would be to be like, Ral, you should do this, or like, do this with your membership group or something. And I also was really present, like, if there's no gap, there's nothing to do. And that can be a challenging space to hold, because then I'm like, crap, am I providing value? What are people listening going to think? All of that. But that is essential in coaching. We really have to honor that. So that was really present to me throughout our conversation. Anything that you were present to, or like that's there for you in this moment?
Yeah, I wanted you to tell me what to do.
Yeah, I felt that.
And the fact that you resisted that taught me something. And it's basically like what you said about, if there's no gap, then you just go. Don't look for the gap if it's not there. And I think that that's a good thing for me to pay attention to. It's like, what is the gap? If there is a gap, what is it? And how do you deal with that?
I've got a practice you might take on that might be of interest to you.
Sure.
At a risk now of telling you something, of giving you something. So that desire to be told, to be given something, it would make sense to me if someone has learned they're too much, or, like, they're not enough. It would make sense then that part of the strategy they'd unconsciously adopt would be to, and this won't be present everywhere in your life, but it would make sense that part of the strategy would be sit back a little bit and let other people provide the way. And so you might just start noticing for those times when you're looking for other people to tell you something, and bring some curiosity to those moments without making any meaning about it. So you don't have to make it, oh, here I am not stepping into my life. None of that.
Okay.
But just, oh, here's a situation where I'm actually wanting someone to tell me a thing. I wonder what's going on for me. That might provide some interesting inquiry for you.
Yeah. I like that. Thank you. That's
Uh,
nice.
Great. Well, then I'd love to acknowledge you, Ral, and then we'll just do a little bit of a wind down. Okay. Would that
Okay.
be all right?
Sure.
So, Ral, the first thing I want to acknowledge you for is like your grace. I really get like an experience that I put you in any room and there's just more grace for things exactly as they are and along with exactly as they could be and everything else along the line, like a real sort of permission just to be where we are, which I think is an incredible gift to the people that you're leading this mastermind with and that will get to have an experience even in the membership group, because so much of what people will step into is like, I need to be there because here is not enough. And the clearing you are that I really get is one of like, where we are is perfect and we could go beyond that. Second, I really want to acknowledge you for your radiance. And in that, I want to acknowledge the part of you that learned like you're too much, your light is too bright, because that's the perfect concern for someone who shines as brightly as you do. And so thanks for the gifts of like just how bright you shine. And then also the gifts of walking through the humanity of that, which is like, holy crap, is it okay for me to shine this bright? And some people are going to be triggered by that. And all of that is like a beautiful part of the process of someone who is radiance. So thanks for bringing both of those gifts into the work you do. And finally, I want to acknowledge you for the contribution you are. I really get a sense of like selflessness in this journey that you're creating. And yeah, of course, money has to exchange hands. And I think it's important that we make money for our work. And underneath that, I really get that there's a real deep desire to contribute to people and to support other people to be a contribution. And I think it's a really beautiful place from which to start to help people create these businesses that like set them free and set them alight. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very
It's my
kind.
pleasure. All right. Well, where do people learn more about you? Like what do you want to share in terms of what you're up to and what you're making happen in the world?
Well, I have a website that's ralwest.com. So that has a lot of information about me and what I do, my course, and the mastermind. And you can also find me on LinkedIn. I have a weekly newsletter that communicates a lot of strategy and tips for businesses, and it's free. And please subscribe to my LinkedIn newsletter.
What's that called?
Ral's Success Principles.
Perfect. Okay.
And I have a YouTube channel that's Ral West, and subscribe to that. And lots of videos on there, lots of information and, free education, if you will. And hopefully this podcast will be on there soon too.
Indeed.
So, yeah. So just please reach out.
RalWest.com. Your newsletter is Ral's Success Principles on LinkedIn. People can subscribe to that. And then you've got a YouTube channel for Ral West. Perfect. Okay. And was there more?
I think that would be great. If everybody did those things, that would be fabulous.
Perfect. And when will the membership or the mastermind launch, if people want to learn more about that?
It's launching now.
Cool.
I'm not sure that it's actually on my website, but there is a link to my sales page, which I could provide to you.
Please.
Yeah. Okay. So, I can say it. Let's see. I have to remember what it is. It's programs.ralwest.com/mastermind.
Excellent. Programs.ralwest.com/mastermind. I love reading URLs out. I'm always doing that.
Yeah.
Please remember this website, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But very soon it should be on my website as well.
So if people want to register, now's the time to do it. And then you kick off in July. Is that right?
Yes. And the sooner you register, the lower the price will be, because I'm offering discounts for the early birds.
Nice. And what's the, can you describe maybe like the avatar for the sort of people that this would be a fit for, or that, what's the state they're in where they're like, this is the thing I need to go towards?
Yeah. As I mentioned, it's like 7 to 8 figure business owners, which just means you don't need to pigeonhole yourself quite that strictly. If you're high 6 digits, that's okay too. But essentially it needs to be a business that's been up and running for a little while, and you've got some structure to it. I mean, you have some kind of team so that there's something to work with. I think the mastermind will be more effective for everybody in it if everybody is a little bit further along than just a startup. The course and the membership will be great for startup people. So the mastermind will be for people who they're running their business, they're in the day-to-day, they've got their hands on everything. They're the one that people go to for the answers, for the decisions, to problem solve. And so they're in the thick of it. And oftentimes their complaint is, gee, I wish I had more time to spend with my family. I wish I could go to more of my kids' ball games or whatever, because they're so tied to the business that they can't. And that's what I want to solve for them.
Got it. So kind of like the results are there, like the financial results, the business is fairly successful, or certainly a going concern, but they're a bit beleaguered, or sort of like, oof, I wish I could enjoy more of what I've created. That kind of experience. Would that be a fair way to put it? Yes.
And you could use overwhelmed, exhausted, stressed, those kinds of things. That there's a pain point there. Now, if somebody has a business that's up and running and they've got that all figured out and they're enjoying their life, well, then maybe they don't need me. But
no gap.
Yeah. But
cool.
For those who come to me and say, no, I really want to grow the business, but I can't because there's only one of me. And I was like, oh, okay, well, we have something that we can do about that.
Beautiful. And do you have a sense of when the membership community might come about?
Probably in the fall.
Fall. Okay, got it. So 6 months thereabouts, somewhere along those lines.
Yeah, because the monthly calls for the mastermind are going to start the end of July. So I'll be gearing up for the next round when that gets underway. Yeah.
Super cool. Okay, fantastic. Anything else people should know before we finish up?
Well, on my website, there's a free webinar that you can sign up for. So go to that and click on the link to watch my free webinar.
And what is the webinar about?
It's about the principles, goes into some detail about the first 2 principles that I teach. So they're going to get some free education by watching the webinar.
Nice. Yeah, great. It's a great place to get to know Ral a little bit more, to see the material, to get a sense. Would that be a fair way to put it?
Yes, it is. And sort of my teaching style, because I'm pretty straightforward and yet very simplistic about my teaching. It's like, just, here's how to do it. We don't have to make it real highbrow. Just, this is what you need.
We do love our complexity, don't we?
Yeah, and I don't.
Yeah.
I like to keep things simple and start off with just one step. Just take one step forward and do just this one thing, and then we can go from there.
Perfect. Okay, great. So I'm going to say it one more time. RalWest.com is the website. LinkedIn is Ral Success Principles. There's a YouTube channel. You can go check out all of Ral's material, Ral West on YouTube. And then the mastermind is at programs.ralwest.com/mastermind. Did I get that right?
Yes. Perfect.
Total
Thank
lawyer
you so
memory
much,
brain.
Adam.
Thank you so much for agreeing to be on the show and for like just being in the conversation with me, Ral. This is really great.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Adam. I appreciate you. And you're a wonderful coach. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to end the stream, and then you and I will just get to say goodbye. Bye, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you next time. And